that border town, and Syrian Kurdish fighters say that they've been quite effective. But let's take a look at the front page of Hurriyet, the Turkish paper. You've got a quote there from the Turkish president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, you can see that he says that airstrikes are not enough to save Kobani. Yesterday, he was addressing a crowd, and he warned that the town is on the brink of falling. But to quote him, he said, "I'm telling the West, dropping bombs from the air will not provide a solution. The terror will not be over unless there is cooperation for a ground operation," except for he didn't really go into more detail about what he means by that.
And of course, the Turkish parliament a week ago now gave permission, if you like, for a military action to happen, but nothing so far.
Nothing's happened so far, and if you take a look at the New York Times, this Turkish inaction has, well, it's sparked some dismay in the U.S. You have Erdogan who's saying that he doesn't want Turkey to get more involved unless the U.S. agrees to give greater support to rebels trying to unseat Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. But this is really upsetting the U.S. authorities. And according to this article, it's deepened tensions with U.S. President Barack Obama, who wants Turkey to take stronger action against the Islamic State Group and leave Bashar al-Assad out of it. And The Independent really agrees with Barack Obama today. In their editorial, you can see they talk about how it's Turkey's turn. And The Independent says that President Erdogan may dislike the Kurds and Bashar al-Assad, but he needs to see the bigger picture. He needs to stop sitting on his hands and join the fight against the Islamic State Group.
Spain is also in the spotlight today. This is after, of course, the Spanish nurse became the first person known to have contracted the deadly Ebola virus outside of West Africa.
That's right. It's front page news across the world. Just to show you, I've pulled out the front page of the Wall Street Journal. You can see how it says this Ebola case is really putting a strain on Spain. So it's Teresa Romero Ramos. She's currently in an isolation unit at the King Charles III Hospital, where she actually caught the virus. And the Spanish media, as you can imagine, is all over this story. I pulled out an article first from El País. What the Spanish papers are trying to figure out is how in the world a nurse in an Ebola treatment ward became infected, and also how was she allowed to be circulating in the open while she was infected, because she was infected on September 30th and only went into the isolation unit on October the 6th. Now, El País says that health officials maintain that all the appropriate safety measures were taken, but this article in El País says that actually there was a chain of errors that led to the current situation. For instance, it says it was obviously an error that she was allowed to circulate, and El País actually blames a lack of communication and instruction from medical personnel.
And the newspaper El Mundo, they've actually managed to interview the patient from a hospital bed.
Absolutely. This is pretty incredible, and I definitely recommend checking out El Mundo's website. You can actually hear the recorded phone interview, and if you're interested, El Mundo actually has an English version of the interview, so El Mundo clearly understands the international interest here. Yeah. You can see that she says, "I don't know how I caught Ebola," and she says that she followed the protocol completely, didn't notice anything strange. It's a fascinating interview, and you can see a photo of here with her dog. And one thing that's really sparked a lot of outrage in the Spanish media is that authorities are actually going to put down her dog.
Sad news. Now, finally, the US actress Jennifer Lawrence. She's broken her silence. This is after nude photos of her were stolen and put online in August.
That's right. Jennifer Lawrence is on the front page of Vanity Fair this month. That comes out tomorrow, actually, but you can already read extracts from the interview online. She really doesn't mince her words and calls the photo hacking a sex crime. It's a sexual violation. It's disgusting. To quote her, she says, "It's my body and it should be my choice. And the fact that it is not my choice is absolutely disgusting." And she's also very critical of people who went and looked for those photos. To quote her again, she says, "Anybody who looked at those pictures, you're actually carrying out a sexual offense. You should cower in shame." And she has drawn a lot of applause for her comments, for her reaction. You can see, for instance, the Daily Beast says that she is the perfect amount of angry. Her furious tirade against the people responsible for this invasion of privacy is simply perfect.
Jennifer Lawrence getting her own back at the end of that scandal. Not sure if it's a scandal, but almost a scandal from Flo from Winnow in the papers. Up for you next, of course, we'll have the latest news coming out of Kobani. Plus, in focus today, we're reporting on the parts of Tunisia, branded now, in fact, as Little Libya, as thousands of refugees flee the violence there in the hope of a better life. It's in the next half hour.